All right, perfect. Well, Billy, I told you when I met you that I'd probably off-road with you.
Yep.
So I'm actually going to throw you all this one. If you actually step back and just say, like, let's look at the family office space, even if we look at the phenomenal numbers that I rattled off from Harsh's white paper of family offices, we're looking at maybe 5,000. Let's just broaden it, say there's 10,000. If you were to drop in and say, oh, I've got this phenomenal jockey and I've got this really complex space, they're all secret. No one knows how to get to these people. There are 10,000 of them. Is this a space you would actually go after, as opposed to Airbnb, where it's, you know, a million houses or, 10 million houses and so forth? How do you kind of justify that lens of investing in the family office vertical relative to the other verticals that you may have? Because I think, practically speaking, if someone were to just pile it in here and
Yep.
rattle off those stats, you'd be like, doesn't sound like a great market. A few very complex hidden people out there. Can you speak to that, given you've got
Yeah,
that
yeah.
lens?
I'll just go really quickly. I mean, similar to Nihal and Eniac, I mean, we prefer to be pre-seed or seed stage investors, and as you're alluding to, the TAM for some of the family office markets are not as large as other industries. That doesn't mean that you can't have phenomenal investment returns. And so, with Summit, we were the first check in. We own a meaningful piece of that business, and we feel like that we can easily make 10, 20x type returns, if not substantially more, on an investment that could have a very successful outcome for the other investors. But it's not, many companies in this industry are unlikely to be multi-billion dollar outcomes, and we're okay with that, so long as it also is a better, more value add product for the end user.
I think it's interesting. I also want to congratulate all of us for not using the words AI so far. So because indeed, I think it's obvious. It's part of all of the work that we do, all the technology that we invest in. But I'd like to challenge two things. So one is, yes, the TAM is small, but what we're able to do now, what we're selling, is really not today, but very soon, intelligence augmentation, and that's valuable. So it's not about, you're not going to replace your chief investment officer, you're not going to replace your controller, but you're able to now assess maybe 10x more opportunities. That drives additional alpha. That allows you to look at, not just the Apollo Private Credit Fund, but also private credit funds from smaller managers across the country. And all of this just drives potentially more return, better diversification, and that value ultimately needs to flow to the enablers of that intelligence augmentation. So that's one aspect. And the second aspect, more holistically, is all of the additional lifestyle pieces that come into this. So if we start thinking about being able to support our personal expenses, expense management, the ability to create liquidity solutions, all of that also is valuable and would not have been a standalone family office piece, but really seeing family offices, but also those individuals specifically as an integrated whole. And I think Billy said it best. With data comes transparency, and with transparency comes the ability to drive financial outcomes.